Okay. Oh dear. Well, a thing happened. Waiting for people to actually get on the thing. Then install them, you dumbass. Oh, just something I saw on. Right. So that's the thing. Let me turn on caffeine mode. And, let's go back to that. Right. This is going to be interesting. Okay. So... Okay. Well, this is something. You can probably see, whatever. You can probably see that, I have the excuse the bit of the caffeinated stuttering. Apparently, yeah, this is a thing that happens. Okay, so, oh dear. You know it's good when... Well, you know it's gonna be good. I'm gonna try to read the news in French and give it to you in English. Okay, why am I... Dumbass. Why am I looking at, Never mind. We'll just go to the English site. God damn it! So it looks like we live in a world where multiple bomb threats have occurred. You know what? The Guardian's probably got something on it. Still only one viewer. Still only one viewer. That's strange. Probably means people hate me. But I mean, that's not uncommon. I'm quite a hated person. Damn it. I completely botched that. Right. Yeah, this is a thing, apparently. And also, huge super send. No. Yeah, this is a thing. And the forward broke. This dialogue sucks. This dialogue sucks something awful. Okay. Yeah. Might as well use your number. Okay, that might be interesting. So yeah, no, serious, whoa. Yep. So, from The Guardian, the listener, would you be able to tell me who you are, or am I kinda non-person to you? Yeah. More like, oh my goodness. Oh my god. Yeah, yeesh indeed. Oh god. So, yeah, so I'll probably get the IRC drama bit out the way while I'm waiting for numbers to rise. So recently, after having learnt about the usage of, well, learnt about and kind of, anyway, having learnt about how the disused English word, I pronounce it thou, but most people pronounce it thou. Having learnt about how that is used, I use it extensively towards people who are disrespectful sons of bitches, to put it kindly. Huh. Yeah. So, this is a thing apparently. So I've been using the T form of the second person pronoun, which has been disused in English for quite a while now, so I don't suspect people, unless they're from Yorkshire, which I'm not, will actually get it. But, yeah, that, I guess, is a thing. So, from The Guardian, suspected bombs sent to prominent Trump critics in an act of terror. Let me tell this person I can't audio right now. So, John Swain and David Smith write that potential explosives were sent to the homes of Barack Hussein Obama, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and let me say that again. Potential explosives were sent to the homes of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, and also to CNN's New York studios and Debbie Wasserman Schultz's offices in Florida. And the article starts, Pipe bombs have been sent to prominent critics of Donald Trump, authorities said on Wednesday, spreading terror in the US less than 2 weeks before the midterm elections. Packages containing suspected explosives were sent to the homes of former President Barack Obama and the former presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, but were intercepted by the US Secret Service. Another suspect package, addressed to the former Attorney General Eric Holder, was discovered before reaching its target. The FBI also reported finding 2 suspicious packages addressed to the Democratic Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Federal investigators were additionally trying to track down a suspicious package they believe was addressed to Joe Biden, a US official told Reuters. CNN evacuated its studios in New York after what police called a live explosive device was found in its mailroom. The package was addressed to John Brennan, the former CIA director, who has repeatedly clashed with Trump and who often does interviews with CNN. On Wednesday night, the packages were being analysed by the FBI at its lab in Virginia. The packages were found after the discovery on Monday of a bomb in the mailbox of George Soros, the billionaire so-called liberal donor. Bit of an interjection. You're not really a liberal if you're a billionaire political donor. Just thought I'd get that out there. The FBI said that the device and at least 4 others found so far were in matching envelopes with similar address labeling and stamps. Some Democrats expressed fear that party figures were coming under attack in advance of the 6th of November congressional elections. James O'Neill... whoa! Let me retry that. Some Democrats expressed fears that party figures were coming under attack in advance of the 6th of November congressional elections. James O'Neill, the New York Police Commissioner, said the recipients may have been selected because of their opposition to Trump. "It is of concern to us," O'Neill said. An urgent manhunt was underway for the person or people behind the bombs. Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, described the attempted bombings as an act of terror, and "I've scared everyone off the stream," by reading a news article essentially verbatim. That sucks. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah. To he or they who did this, well, thou art a scoundrel and... nice mispronunciation, me. Thou art a scoundrel and a coward, and I hope you are caught. Excuse me. Of course I got the thing wrong. But yeah, no, I hope that fuckhead is caught, because well, he's a fuckhead. You don't fucking do a bomb threat on a fucking politician. Even if they are an idiot, you don't put a bomb in a politician's mailbox. That's like the height of terrorism. In fact, Tom Hartman came up with the term stochastic terrorism. Technically, well, actually, no, I don't think it's Tom Hartman. Technically, stochastic terrorism is just lone wolf terrorism, but this website on Blogspot, stochasticterrorism.blogspot.com, which Tom Hartman brought up, defines it essentially as the use of mass communication to incite random actors to carry out violent or terroristic acts that are statistically predictable but individually unpredictable. Definition 2, which is rather more direct, is remote control murder by lone wolf. And yeah, that's kind of right. Yeah. Remote control murder by lone wolf. They're not really lone wolves, though. They do listen to a leader. The leader just doesn't directly incite terror. Yeah. The article on the stochastic terrorism blogspot from the 26th of January 2011 Part 1. Triggering the shooters. Stochastic terrorism is the use of mass communications to incite random actors to carry out violent or terrorist acts that are statistically predictable but individually unpredictable. In short, remote control murder by lone wolf. I see that there is but one person on the listener list, and I don't know if they're interested in what I have to say. I don't know if they are interested in what I have to say. Okay, I don't understand why FearX is listening, because he hates my guts, and he is a verified neo-Nazi, so yeah, that's apparently a thing. Or he's just fallen for neo-Nazi rhetoric. Either way, he's not really desirable, but he can listen if he wants. Yeah. I think it's dead. I don't think anyone's actually listening with any, well, reason. Yeah. Come on. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'll restart reading this article on stochastic terrorism because, yeah. Okay, I'll start from the second paragraph rather than the first. This is what occurs when bin Laden releases a video that stirs random extremists halfway around the globe to commit a bombing or shooting. This is also the term for what Beck, O'Reilly, Hannity, and others do. And this is what led directly and predictably to a number of cases of ideologically motivated murder similar to the Tucson shootings. As of this writing, there is no evidence to link Jared Lochner to a specific source of incitement rather, but some of the other cases can be clearly linked. The stochastic terrorist is the person who is responsible for the incitement, not the actual terrorism. The actual terrorist is the lone wolf. For example, the stochastic terrorist goes on radio or television and stirs up hatred towards a particular person or group. The random actor, or lone wolf as the term is used in law enforcement and intel, is the person who responds to the incitement by carrying out the violent or terroristic act against the target person or group. For example, they shoot someone or detonate a bomb. While their action may have been statistically predictable, example, given sufficient provocation, someone will probably do such and such, the specific person and the specific act are not yet predictable. There may be intermediaries in the chain of cause and effect. For example, person A hires person B to go on television and incite hatred of group or person C, and then person D, quote, pops up out of nowhere and attacks one or more members of group C, which may be a single person group, as I said earlier. At each step, plausible deniability increases through the diffusion of responsibility. Oh, it was just a lone wolf nut. Nobody could have predicted he would have done that, and I'm not responsible for what people in my audience do. The random actor gets captured and sentenced to life in prison, while the stochastic terrorist keeps his primetime slot and goes on to incite more lone wolves. The stochastic terrorist may be acting either negligently or deliberately, or maybe in complete denial of their impact, just like a drunk driver who runs over a pedestrian without realizing it. Finally, there isn't actually a need for conspiracy here, merely the twisted acts of individuals who are promoting hatred and extremism, and who get access to national or wide-ranging media in which to do it. The rest follows naturally, just as an increase in violent storms follows from an increase in average global temperature. Part 1, Section The Lone Wolves. The term lone wolf is used in law enforcement and intel to refer to an individual who is emotionally unstable, who lacks obvious ties to known criminal gangs or terrorist groups, and who pops up seemingly out of nowhere to commit a violent or terroristic act. The three-letter agencies can keep an eye on organized groups and do a damn good job of stopping violent actors associated with those groups. At least 3 intended car bombings were stopped last year by the FBI intercepting the bombers and substituting fake explosive in time to save hundreds of lives and arrest the would-be bombers. Lone wolves don't have obvious connections through which they can be discovered. They don't communicate much, if at all, about their intentions. Oh my god. Someone just sent something. They keep their plans to themselves, and then, apparently at random, they pop up from obscurity and commit murder. They are law enforcement's and intel's worst nightmare, and on the 8th of January 2011, one of them became America's worst nightmare. Part 3. Well, no, Section 3. Stirring the pot. At any given time, there are hundreds of thousands of Americans with combinations of personality characteristics, such as emotional instability, a paranoid ideology, and a propensity for violence, that put them at risk of going off the deep end and becoming lone wolf terrorists. All it takes is the right push, the right nudge at the right time, to dislodge a few of them and send them on their way to 15 minutes of fame surrounded by dead bodies. There's nothing mysterious about this process. It isn't much different to other instances where a person is almost ready to make a decision, and the right combination of inputs makes them act. For example, you have an old car and it begins to break down more often. Now you're thinking of replacing it, and you might be swayed by something in a car ad. Anyone who is familiar with marketing and advertising knows how this works, and advertisers often target their messages to people who are already ready to buy and just need a little persuading. Political candidates often target their ads at the undecided, hoping that a little nudge will win them some votes. This is perfectly normal and hardly insidious. It becomes insidious when these practices are used in such a manner as to deliberately or negligently stir up lone wolf violence. I'm gonna need a cup of tea. So let's take Glenn Beck, Sean Hannity, and Bill O'Reilly. There is no question that their emotional rhetoric appeals to people who are emotionally unstable. And since their audiences are tracked and analysed in detail, there is no question that they know it. When they go on TV and shout and sputter and rant and rave and weep and wail, they are not expecting to persuade liberals or even undecided to change their votes. They are playing to their base that they know includes people who are emotionally unstable. In short, they are stirring the pot. And if you turn up the temperature and keep stirring, even if you don't keep stirring, you know that the pot will boil. Bubbles will come up from the depths and pop. And that can be quite dangerous. Pop go the lone wolves. Section 4. Some lone wolves have no provable connection to the hate talkers and pot stirrers other than memes and comments. Note that this is memes in the cultural gene sense, not the internet sense that is part of the cultural gene sense. Hold. Never mind. One example of this is James Venneker von Brunn, who shot and killed a security guard named Stephen Tyrone Johns at the Holocaust Memorial Museum in the US. While von Brunn was a white supremacist, it appears his extremism was purely of his own making. Another is Andrew Joseph Stack III, who flew a Piper Dakota from the... Another is Andrew Joseph Stack III, who flew a Piper Dakota into the Austin, Texas field office of the IRS, killing IRS manager Vernon Hunter and himself and injuring 13 others. Stack's suicide note included memes from all across the ideological spectrum. At this point, it appears as if Jared Lochner is one of these all-over-the-map crazy with an incoherent ideology that is mostly right-wing, but difficult to trace to specific sources. On the 27th of July 2008, lone wolf shooter Jim David Adkerson walked into the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church and shot 9 people, killing 2 and wounding 7. Adkerson said he was motivated by hatred of Democrats, liberals, a word I can't say on air, and another word I can't say on air. The first meaning people of dark complexion, and the second meaning homosexuals. A police search of his home found books by Michael Savage, Sean Hannity, and Bill O'Reilly. On the 4th of February 2009, he accepted a plea bargain, guilty on 2 counts of murder in exchange for a life sentence without the possibility of parole. On the 4th of April 2009, Richard Poplawski shot 5 Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania police officers, leaving 3 dead and 2 seriously wounded. According to those who knew him, he was a birther and white supremacist, was paranoid that Barack Obama was going to take away his guns, and was consumed by anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. A police search of his computer found links to various groups into a YouTube video of Glenn Beck talking about FEMA concentration camps. Poplawski's trial has been delayed until the 25th of April 2011, where it is possible he will face the death penalty for murder of police officers. On the 31st of May 2009, anti-abortion extremist Scott Roeder shot and killed gynecologist Dr. George Tiller while Tiller was attending church services. Hold. At first it appeared he acted alone, but research by subject matter experts uncovered evidence that he had at least one accomplice. That issue, at the time of writing, was presently being investigated by a federal grand jury. In the months leading up to the assassination, Bill O'Reilly had waged a relentless campaign against Tiller, so-called killer, a campaign of exactly the type that would be expected to stir up violence against the doctor. The details can be found at a link to salon.com. specifically www.salon.com/news/feature/news/4009/05/31/Tiller. In January 2010, Reda was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. At present, his accomplices and enablers have not yet been indicted and charged. On the 18th of July 2010, Byron Williams set out from his mother's home in Groveland, California, heading for San Francisco to shoot up the Tides Foundation and the ACLU with the intention of starting a revolution? Huh? Williams, a convicted felon with 2 bank robberies, was stopped by the California Highway Patrol for weaving in and out of traffic at high speed. When stopped, he immediately opened fire on the CHP officers, wounding 2. They returned fire, wounding him in the leg, and then took him into custody. At first, they thought they were dealing with a garden variety cop shooter, and then they found the notebook in his car with the details of his plans. Prior to Williams' planned attack, Glenn Beck mentioned the obscure Tides Foundation 29 times on his program. He had drawn numerous charts on his infamous blackboard showing how Tides is the funding source behind much of the, quote, liberal conspiracy, end quote. He had stoked and fueled, turned up the heat in the pot, and stirred it real good. He devoted 2 of his broadcasts to Tides in the very week preceding the shooting. To quote the Washington Post, Beck has at times spoken against violence, but he more often forecasts it, warning that it's only a matter of time before a crazy person does something really stupid. Most every broadcast has some violent imagery. The clock is ticking, the war is just beginning. Shoot me in the head if you try to change our government. You have to be prepared to take rocks to the head. The other side is attacking. There is a coup going on. Grab a torch, drive a stake through the heart of the bloodsuckers. They are taking you to a place to be slaughtered. They are getting a gun to America's head. Hold these people responsible. End quote. That is every ounce of evidence you could possibly need. In addition to a dead doctor, 2 dead churchgoers, 7 wounded churchgoers, 3 dead police officers, 4 wounded police officers. How many more that the writer couldn't remember while writing this? Meanwhile, the jury is still out on whether Lochner's victims belong on the list of people who got becked. This is a word? Okay. I'm trying to parse the grammar here. I'm just going to reword it. Someone wrote in a comment about this a few months ago that there was a saying among his buddies in the Air Force. Once is a tragedy, twice is a terrible coincidence, but 3 times, oh, that shit's enemy action. If you were a media personality known for rants and raves on the air, and it came out that some random killer had possibly been influenced by you or one of your colleagues, what would you do? Would you apologize? Would you tone it down? And I will add, would you denounce the killer? Would you change your rhetoric? If it happened again, what would you do? And if it happened yet again after that, what would you do? It takes more than just a special kind of sociopath to be failed to be moved by the murder of doctors, churchgoers, and on-duty police officers. And there could have been murders of much more. The writer submits to thee and to I that it takes something between callous disregard and deliberate intent. Whoops. Pulling the trigger by remote control. I've lost track of the number of sections. If you wanted certain people dead, but you wanted plausible deniability, you would have someone else do the deed for you at a distance. The greater the distance, the better. One way to do it would be to use your position on radio or TV to hurl emotional rhetoric that is calculated to appeal to people who are psychologically unstable. Some of them will go out and vote. Some of them will go forth and spread your rant memes. Some of them will get into barroom brawls over one issue or another. But a few who have already demonstrated a lack for but a few who have already demonstrated a lack of respect for the law will do more than that. Maybe they will assault someone on the street who is black or gay, or speaking Espanol in public, or speaking French in public in the case of Canada, or wearing traditional Islamic or Sikh garb. Maybe they'll make a bomb and put it in the post, or plant it at a women's clinic. Maybe they'll go out and shoot someone. Maybe they'll shoot someone who, in your heart of hearts, you want dead. If you have a list of targets in mind, such as Operation Rescue's website with crosshairs on doctors, or Palin's crosshairs on elected officials, it won't matter who gets killed first and who gets killed later. Any hit will do. This is stochastic terrorism. You heat the water, you stir the pot. You know full well that sooner or later a lone wolf will pop up and do the deed. The fact that it'll happen is as predictable as the fact that a heated pot of water will eventually boil. But the exact time and place of each incident will remain as random as the appearance of the first bubbles in the boiling pot. And so the unstable shooter, the sick kid or crazy adult, will be taken into custody where they will rant a disconnected version of your own rants. The fact that they are clearly nuts will enable shifting the public discussion away from your hateful rhetoric and towards the overt insanity of the shooter or bomber. After that, you get to go on the air and tut-tut along with everyone else and say, oh, so sad, too bad, and all that crap. But behind the scenes, you drink a toast, you cheer, one down, a bunch more to go. Or perhaps you're just crazy enough to truly believe that you really do not have anything to do with it. You collect your media star paycheck and tootle along to the next day in front of cameras and microphones. To the person who just joined, I'm reading an article about stochastic terrorism. Ready to do it again, as oblivious as the drunk driver who runs over a flock of school children and keeps driving drunk. And then when the cops pull him over, says, "Who? Me?" The guilty knowledge test. Someone needs to corral Beck, Hannity, O'Reilly, Savage, and the rest of them in front of a microphone and camera that are not of their own choosing. For example, think of ABC 60 Minutes and their famed unannounced appearances at the offices and even homes of various wrongdoers over the years. Or think of press conferences and other scheduled appearances where someone pops up and asks the inconvenient question or three, and the question captures the headlines, and someone needs to ask them, in light of this latest in a series of ideologically motivated murders, are you willing to tone down your rhetoric even a tad? Listen very closely to their answers. They will duck and weave, they will evade and deny, or at most, give the standard reply of lone nuts. Oh, so sad. But they may also let slip a subtle hint of guilty knowledge. The author of the aforementioned Washington Post article says in passing, it is not fair to blame Beck for violence committed by people who watch his show. I say it damn well. The author says it damn well is fair to blame them when it happens again and again and again and again and again and predictably again. Once is a tragedy, twice is a coincidence, 3 times, oh, that's enemy action. And now we know how it's done. Stir the pot, wait for the inevitable, deny it, do it again. That's stochastic terrorism as surely as when Bin Laden does it. Glenn Beck and his fellow hate-mongers are terrorists by remote control. And that is your reading hour finished. Anyway, I've got 4 notifications on, I don't fucking know. This fear prick is, well, a prick. A transphobic prick. He's one of those enablers of those lone wolves. He's probably a stochastic terrorist or one of their supporters. Maybe not a right-wing stochastic terrorist, but I oppose the authoritarian left as much as I oppose the right wing. So, yeah. Dude, it's real. You really are. You really are crazy. But anyway, that's not important right now. Okay, somehow I have 3 people listening now. What? Okay, wow, okay, wait, excuse me. So, yeah, no, this whole bomb threat thing, that is domestic terrorism. Come the fuck on. This shit gives me frickin' headaches. Oh my god. Oh. And back to the Guardian article I was reading when everyone just left. Back to the Groniad article. This is related to the stochastic terrorism. Trump said at the White House that he condemned the attempted bombings and that a major federal investigation was underway. He followed this with a plea for unity during a midterms campaign rally in Massena, Wisconsin. Any acts or threats of political violence are an attack on our democracy itself, he told the crowd. We want all sides to come together in peace and harmony. We can do it. Those engaged in the political arena must stop treating political opponents as morally defective. The next paragraph is basically my sentiment right now. The words are likely to ring hollow with his critics. In the 2016 presidential election, Trump branded his rival, crooked Hillary Clinton, and relished the chants of lock her up from supporters. The president went on, no one should carelessly compare political opponents to historical villains, which is done often. It's done all the time. Gotta stop. We should not mob people in public places or destroy public property. There is one way to... Oh my god, these Trumpisms! Ah! Sorry. But he soon reverted to a familiar scapegoat. The media, he said, has a responsibility to set a civil tone and to... Oh, come on! This guy is so dishonest. Godwin's law doesn't even apply here. This guy is literally Hitler. This guy is literally Hitler. Excuse him, what? This is bad. This is bad. Are you blind, Rick? Are you blind? Oh, jeez. My teeth hurt. Probably all those chicharron. Yeah, I'm done with this crap. Good night. And now YouTube is asking me, do you want to stop the diffusion? Yes, I